you want to play golf? Well, tough. We are. Sensible Golf is a 1995 game from Sensible Software, their final full commercial release for the Amiga. There was Sensible Train Spotting on an Amiga Power cover disc, but this is it, their final Amiga new game. There would of course be updates for Sensible Soccer. There's an Amiga and PC version. We're only looking at the Amiga version today simply because when I try and boot the PC version it just gives me a blank screen. But in any case, this is going to be a very slightly different edition of ChinnyVision because I want to give a salute to Sensible Golf. This is a game that got only 66% in Amiga Power, and the critics weren't particularly kind to it. They said it was neither one thing, neither an arcade game nor a simulation, and it wasn't much fun and didn't have much longevity. Will I disagree? And I want to show you what there is to love about this game. The game was extensively documented in Amiga Power's Diary of a Game. When I say extensively documented, I've read it and the entire thing seems like a waste of time, with many of the entries just being full of waffle. The game had a bit of a protracted development. Apparently partway through development the engine was ditched and they started again. There was intended to be a Mega Drive version, but that never transpired. As I say, supposed to be based on the same game engine as Cannon Fodder, Sensible Soccer, and of course you have all that expectation of Sensible Soccer, that Sensible Software were going to revolutionise golf games in the same way they'd revolutionised football games. And I think that's part of the reason why this game isn't so beloved as Sensible Soccer, because it doesn't quite hit that genre-changing moment that Sensible Soccer has. The game has a career mode, it has a single player mode, you can play against the computer. I used to play this against my mate. My mate had a copy on his A1200 and I used to borrow it off him, even though I had a PC by then, to play the game and enjoy it. There are 25 courses in the game, although, as you'll know, golf courses have 18 holes, but there are only, in fact, 72 holes in the game. Game was criticised for being a little bit unrealistic, but it is an arcade golf game. Think Mario Golf. So it looks a little bit similar to Cannon Fodder and Sensible Soccer, so it still must be using parts of the engine. Of course, Stu Cambridge still done the graphics. Hold down the fire button, it shows you the entire map and where you're aiming. You have your golf sticks that you get shown on the bottom left-hand side what the ranges are, and then you have the usual swingometer, and you have to hit it in the red zones basically, and if you miss then the ball will swing too far to the left or to the right, although you can use that to your advantage. So we're going to hit it onto the green. So you get the zoomed up views. This has changed this a bit. Another one of the criticisms of the game is the little bit here, the putting green, whatever it's called, is too hilly compared to what golf would really be like. But never mind. It's an arcade golf game. That was just to show you in a single player mode what the game's like. We're going into a tournament mode now, so we're going to select a course, go to Melbourne. For some reason my controls keep putting left, don't know why, which makes getting off this screen very interesting. It must be some glitch with my hacked copy here. So playing in a tournament, and I'm playing against the computer players, but I'll be going on a round with a guy called Hines. Now the flag flutters. That is deceptive on the map because the game was probably intended to have some kind of wind effect in it, but it doesn't. So don't pay attention to how the flag is fluttering. So I've hit my golf ball there and I'm already on the green. Computer's going to have a go now. This is not frantic arcade action like Cannon Fodder, like Sensible Soccer. It is a much slower paced game. And it's one that was criticised for not having enough depth into it and not enough strategy. And again, if you play games like Mario Golf, then this is very similar. And those games are lauded. I had Mario Golf on my Game Boy Color that I bought very cheaply, 2004, 2005, something like that. Got a Game Boy Color for next to nothing box, still have it. And a copy of Mario Golf, the updated colour version, and enjoyed it immensely. And this has got the same feel to it as that game. I haven't played the earlier Mario Golf game on the original Game Boy, but I believe that's a kind of similar thing as well. So we've got round hole 1 there, just on par. So that means I did it in the amount of hits of the ball, basically, that you're supposed to. Gameplay is fairly quick compared to golf games like Leaderboard, Jack Nicklaus, and so on, where you can be hanging around for a little bit. It has a nice pace to it. I can see why the golfing simulation fans won't like it, because it's not realistic. It's going for an arcade feel. There we go, down there. John Hare of Sensible Software said, Sensible Golf is a disappointment to me. I'm not happy. We were greedy. We diluted our quality, to be honest. I just didn't have time for Sensible Golf, and it just slid. Again, the game was supposed to have more things going on. You were supposed to see the other players hanging around on the putting green. Perhaps moles would pop up and cause your ball to bounce off into other places. But to be honest, that's all frivolity and extras. This game, it feels quite a pure game. If it lacks anything, it lacks that wow factor, that pull factor that Sensible Soccer has. And you can still achieve feats in it. You can do long putts. And all the hilliness of the green there is just to make it a bit harder. No, it's not realistic, but it's just to add a little bit of skill into the game. Otherwise, you're going to be completing every hole in basically on par. And the courses are supposed to be not realistic. They're supposed to be a bit like Leaderboard. Fantastical. Lots of water around without bridges and so on. And that's another joy that I miss from some of these modern golfing games. You can have these fantastical settings and just enjoy it for what it is. The game did have a bit of a development hell. They appear to have scrapped some of it halfway through. They struggled. In fact, I think it was supposed to be out for Christmas and they didn't make it in time. So clearly there were problems and they wanted to add more and never got round to it. I don't think you're going to put the hours into this that you'd put into Cannon Fodder or Sensible Soccer, but I still don't think this is a 66% game. My mate and I used to play this for hours against each other, and I borrowed his copy and played against the computer. On it, there's a career mode with money that you can do wagers and so on. I haven't shown that today, but there's lots of different game modes in here, so you're getting a fair amount for your money. But as I say, arcade players may not see this as enough of an attraction, and the purist golf players, the people who play the golf simulations, well, they're going to hate it, really. They're not going to like it, which perhaps leaves people like you and me somewhere in the middle to enjoy this game. I'm making assumptions there, what you like. But I've played this a couple of nights running, and I think, this is a nice game. This is a nice game. If I do have gripes to the game, well, as we'll see, it's very easy to get your ball stuck in the trees and be incredibly hard to get it out. There is no wind, but it's a lot more forgiving than some golf games. If you hit the edge of the water, the ball will bounce, as you saw a little bit earlier on there. And I love these courses. I just love these island courses with all this water everywhere. It just means you need to think around how you're going to approach the hole. Will you go the same way as the computer, or will you just splash it into the water like an idiot? And it is so definitely Sensible Software. It feels and looks like one of their games. I keep coming back to this. The MSX had lots of arcadey golf games. They had arcadey golf games, and it wasn't a problem. Yet there's something about this. If it had been produced by someone other than Sensible Software, would it have been given more leeway? And I've hit the ball into the trees, and now we're going to see just how difficult it is to get the ball out of the trees. The problem comes from the perspective in the game. You can't change perspective, so you can't see your way around. So I'm just there I am, where's the ball? How am I going to get out of this? Hit it left? Because essentially all the trees are 2D objects, but they're being treated into the tree there. And it just becomes very, very hard to get yourself out of this situation. I know what you're thinking. Hit the ball downwards. And indeed, that's the way you end up getting out of this. And you've got to hit it low as well. I like Sensible Golf. I've no bones about saying that, and I think you will as well. Throw away the preconceptions you're going to have from cannon fodder and Sensible Soccer. No game can live up to those lofty heights. What you have here is a really fun golf game. No, okay, it's a golf game and there's not a huge amount of variety here, but it's really well implemented. The only criticisms I have are the lack of wind, which makes hitting the ball on the long shots a little bit easier than it should be. But if this was on another computer, the Game Boy or anything like that, Pete and Mario was replacing the main characters in the game here, everyone would be lauding this, but they don't. Amiga Power, 66%. Some of the other Amiga magazines gave it a better review. Sensible Golf, if you're a hardcore arcade player, then I'm afraid you're probably not going to like it. If you're a hardcore golf sim player, then you're going to hate it. But for the rest of us, you know what? Aside from Mario Golf on the Game Boy Color, I think this is the most fun golf game out there.